Definitely. Welcome everyone to the second day of the Rate to Zero Dialogues. As Anthony well explained, we will focus today on the net zero transition in industry. First, on behalf of both Nigel and me, we want to say a big thank you to the World Economic Forum, the Mission Possible Platform, the International Trade Union Confederation, and all our incredible partners for bringing together leaders from industry, government, and civil society to mobilize action and accelerate the net zero industry transition. We know that we need to scale up commitments and keep up the momentum to maximize progress and tangible outcomes at COP26. What that means varies widely across the different stakeholders within what we call industry. Goes from steel, aluminium, and mining to apparel and fast-moving consumer goods, and across their scopes and different value chains. They all have unique challenges and opportunities on the path to net zero emissions.
Thanks, Gonzalo. I must just first thank you for getting up at silly o'clock. I don't know what time it is in Chile, but I feel like I had to get up early, but it's like 4 o'clock in the morning. So great to see you, and thanks, Anthony and Wef. I hope no one from any of the other dialogue days is listening in, because I have to admit this is my favourite day, having spent the first half of my career in industry. As Gonzalo says, there's a real broad scope today, but as well as those individual challenges of each sectoral transformation, there are some really important points of interconnection where gains in one sector can have powerful ripple effects throughout all industries to accelerate our progress towards decarbonisation. In fact, I think we can see that some of these ripple effects are now becoming surges. I think of some of the technologies like storage or hydrogen, which cut across so many sectors, and we'll be hearing about those. The purpose of our morning briefings is we want to try and frame the vision of the theme for the day, in this case industry, drawing on the work that you, Anthony, and your team and everyone else in the Marrakesh Partnership community has been putting together on the climate action pathways to set out the blueprint for the vision, with a particular emphasis, as you say, on the first steps, but also a clear sense of where we're going. I like to think of these visions as an exercise in rigorous imagination. I think that we often forget that imagination is the key tool in the engineer's toolkit. If we can't imagine something, then we can't build it. So let's look back from 2050. In 2050, industries look very different to how they look now. They've gone beyond net zero emissions to become regenerative. They're delivering tangible social and economic and environmental benefits to the world at large, such as dignified employment, social inclusion, regeneration of nature, to name but a few. And no single factor can explain that radical transformation. This is systems transformation. It's the outcome of the accelerating feedback between multiple drivers of change. New technologies, of course, novel business models, progressive public policies, enlightened customer choices, forward-thinking investment decisions, to name a few.
Sure, and getting that and connecting to also what has been moving me during the last years, industrial production will follow a circular logic. Then sees resources be used again and again, and necessary waste will quickly become a thing of the past. As we say in Triciclos, waste is an error of design that can and must be corrected. We'll talk about that during the day. The volume of natural resources used by industry will be well within planet capacity to replace. We will also see the rise of positive feedback loops, regulations, financial markets, and consumer behaviors will be structured in such a way as to reward those businesses that act responsibly. Climate action will definitely become a source of competitive advantage, and data-driven transparency system will allow misaligned companies to be quickly identified. High carbon legacy firms will swiftly, definitely disappear.
Yeah, and I mean, I just saw in the news today, I think a $600 million investment in a coal-fired power plant being written off. So it's a good example of high carbon legacy firms being valued correctly. And this is all part of placing our industrial system on a more socially responsible and environmentally sustainable footing. You could say this is as part of the revolution of purpose, which young engineers going to the workplace are demanding now. And it's as we're already seeing, it's a huge benefit for business competitiveness. And we know that in 2050, net zero companies will be the ones that have been resilient to the effects of climate change and natural disasters. And those companies have gained considerable efficiency savings, lower costs, greater employee engagement, stronger brand loyalty, early access to new markets. In fact, that's a list that echoes what a group of CEOs were telling the UK Secretary of State, Alok Sharma, when they were talking to him on a round table a couple of weeks ago about the benefits they're already seeing, and there's 30 years to go to 2050. So these changes are definitely already happening. As they've done in every industrial disruption in the past, the pace of change we know is always painfully slow at first, but then goes exponential. And this is the decade of exponential change where volumes go up, costs go down, actually in quite a predictable learning way, and transformations follow the S-curve through to full market adoption, faster than any incumbents ever predicted. And we'll be seeing sector after sector where the pace of change now is way faster than anyone predicted 3 years ago. And that's why we're so excited to be opening day 2 of the dialogues, to hear under the expert curation of the Mission Possible platform, ETC, WEF, and ITUC, hear about these new systems transformation from different perspectives so that we can learn what to expect in our collective race to the zero carbon economy of the 2040s.